Hello, this is David with entry number 5670, I believe. Uh, I'm pretty sure. As you can see, my nose is red because it is cold and because I'm at the final stages of getting over a little light cold I had last week. It was very light, but there was a bit of a cold, which sucked. The worst, when you're getting over a cold because you start like evacuating, like meaning that things are coming out and you don't feel like crap anymore, really. So basically, it's weird for me. I wake up with a cough, and then I cough for like maybe 2 minutes. Some stuff comes out, and then meaning phlegm, and then I have a little bit of a runny nose, and then by 8 o'clock, uh, I'm fine. I feel fine. I'm not leaking, and it's weird. It's weird. I think I've always been like that, to be honest. Kind of man, my nose looks red. In recording in this room, the lighting is bad. It's like this kind of like really crappy fluorescent thing, and so it doesn't look natural at all. It makes my lips and my nose right now look very red. Anyway, I said I'd record today because I wanted to talk about my Thanksgiving. Well, this is basically my Thanksgiving entry, about 2 days, 3 days late. Yeah, 3 days late. And I didn't want to do it out on the street because I wanted to talk more from the heart and not so much from kind of the well, I didn't want to be like looking back and forth and being worried about um, being worried about running into people or traffic or whatever, which I normally am looking. That's why I really don't usually look at the camera typically when I'm walking, because it's very kind of like hazardous to, obviously when you're a pedestrian you have to kind of maintain focus on the street. Anyway, I have a lot of things that I'm thankful for, and if you live a certain life, if you're afforded a certain life, that you're able to have many things provided for you, and you have certainly parents that love you and will do anything for you, and to feel like they'll do anything for you is something that not everyone is able to be blessed with in this life. Um, and so I guess the biggest thing I'm always thankful for around Thanksgiving are my parents. That's always the number one. Um, I think it might be different for other people, especially if they didn't have really nice childhoods. But I would say that mine in particular was very good. There is not anything I have regrets over or feel bad about. Um, my parents are, amazing. So the biggest thing I'm thankful for always are my parents. And the other piece to being thankful for something is showing gratitude, is showing your thankfulness. And there's a lot of ways to do this, and I kind of talked about it with some of my pupils this last week about kind of what is thankfulness and how do we show it and what's the best way. And a lot of them, just said say thank you, write letters, give money, give gifts, and like that's very true. And I think for a lot of parents, that's kind of what they expect, or maybe that's what they understand. Better put. But excuse me, but I feel personally that that's a little bit shallow, in the sense that if your parents are doing well, which hopefully they are, they don't need money and they don't need gifts, and you can tell them thank you and I appreciate your work and all that stuff as much as you until you're blue in the face. And eventually kind of they'll drown it out and it'll kind of get lost. The message will get lost a little bit. So I personally feel like the best way to give thanks to your parents, especially in my case, is to kind of live a lifestyle or live a life that expresses that your thankfulness. Um, Parents put a lot of time, obviously, and a lot of money and a lot of effort, and a lot of energy into raising their kids. And ideally, parents want their kids to succeed and want their kids to be happy, most of all. And if you are living a life where you are not happy and or you are not making significant or sufficient, should say, sufficient amount of money to live, that is very troublesome, I believe, for parents. That is a very bad thing for parents to have to worry about their kids after they've left the house. It's a lot of stress, additional stress they don't need in their lives. Personally, that's how I feel. And, I think that it is a child's duty to try and lessen that stress on on his or her parent's life. I realize that all parents will worry about their kids to some extent because that's kind of the job of a parent. But, you know, it's the job of the child to recognize that, I think, and kind of honor them by living a life that is something that they can be proud of. For a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of young people or a lot of children consider this kind of way of showing their gratitude. I realize that many people in today's world are more focused on kind of themselves and less or much less on their parents. And having said that, I think it is true that a lot of kids show their gratitude towards their parents by buying them things that are physical, by buying them cards, by buying them cars, by buying them houses, by paying off their mortgage, which is all good. I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad. I'm sure their parents love that. But I'm sure what their parents love more than getting their mortgage paid off or getting their cars, new cars or whatever, what I'm sure their parents love more than just the physical items is the fact that their children are in a financial and kind of spiritual place to afford these kind of physical things. And if they can afford them financially, but are not kind of spiritually gratified, I think for a lot of parents that's more of an issue. Um, a lot of kids have this children have this misconception that that gifts equate emotion, that gifts kind of um, are a substitute for giving their parents like an emotional satisfaction, which is I personally think that's obviously incorrect. Parents want to feel like that their children are happy, number one, and that their children can take care of themselves, number two. And I think if you are able to satisfy those two kind of prerequisites, then you can move on to kind of more material things. But if you can't really say that you're happy with yourself, and or you cannot afford to live on your own, that is where I think you should probably work on those things before you buy your parents a car or pay off their mortgage or whatever, because all those little material things, while nice and while probably appreciated, are not going to give them the same peace of mind as knowing that their kid is happy and can take care of themselves. So anyway, thanks for watching. This has been entry number 670, most likely. I will be waiting another 2 days, so we're kind of off the schedule. A new schedule will now be developed. And I'll talk with you in a couple of days, like I said. Bye.